You're looking at a cacao plantation that has been abandoned for about 40 years. Okay, so here in the Caribbean of Costa Rica and the northern part of the country bordering Nicaragua, about 100 years ago, the United Fruit Company, because they were dealing with banana disease, began to plant a lot of cacao. And some of the cacao that they were planting was just transplants or taken from seed from this very old Matina cacao. And some of it was a specific hybrid that they called UF, United Fruit, and some sort of number. I don't remember what the number is, but it's UF something. And so there's a combination of this United Fruit cacao, which was hybridized and planted in grafted material. And then you have a lot of places that were planted with seed, which meant it was wild in the hybridization. So farms like this mostly were planted from seeds, so you have a lot of genetic variety within there, not that many repeat of individuals. So it's a very special type of cacao plantations around here because the gene pool that's there is much broader and much more, I think, resilient. Okay, we talk about things like climate change or potential morphing of fungal diseases, things like that, that could potentially cause the world cacao production to go into risk. Basically, like banks of material are really important, where you have not just monocultured or only a few varieties of cacao planted. So Costa Rica has probably the largest bank, basically collection of different varieties of cacao in the world, and that exists at Aquest in Turrialba. So we have in Costa Rica a super treasure. And, the main thing is trying to preserve the sort of wider range of varieties is becoming more and more difficult because the varieties that are growing wild, or these abandoned ones, are oftentimes very susceptible to the fungal disease called Monelia. And even though they have fine flavor, a cacao farmer realistically can't survive if they're losing more than 50% of their crop to disease, right? So the institutions, researchers, programs like Aquest and the World Cacao Foundation are attempting to find a variety or different types of varieties of trees that are resistant to the diseases that are out there, and also that are more highly productive. Okay, so, and that can grow in conditions that aren't traditionally thought of as the perfect conditions for cacao. And so it's creating this replacement of, you might say, heritage or heirloom cacao. And so now there's also heirloom cacao preservation groups and people that are working to preserve and research and understand what the flavor profiles are of various different regions and all that stuff. So some of them are people like me, but I'm not a scientist, so I am learning from my experience, and when I find something, I just freely open source it. If someone is actually wanting to actually find out the science behind whatever it is, we're glad to work with those people, but I myself am not a scientist. I don't do research.
That's the point.